Welcome everybody to our weekly Soul Changes Lives webinar. My name is Debbie Perez Cockburn. I love being with you weekly. I love sharing the information that we have to share. Just a little bit of housekeeping really quickly. Just want to remind everyone who may watch this later. None of our panelists are doctors. We don't pretend to be doctors. We offer good, sound health advice using our favorite products, which happen to be Soul Natural products. So if you see this little green leaf, you'll know. And Sybil's wearing her shirt. Yay, so happy. We love Soul Naturals, and that's what we want to share with you every week. And this is a class that changes the format. We've just changed our format. So today's kind of informal. I want to start by sharing a testimonial, and then we'll have a short discussion, and we'll have some comments by our founder and president of Soul Naturals, Mr. Greg Halliday. So I wanted to share with you first a story that I heard last week on another webinar. A team member of mine has her webinars on Fridays, and she had an amazing testimonial to share. This testimonial was in Spanish. It was recorded, so I don't have the recording in English. But let me just tell you what happened. It's a young couple, a husband and wife, who had been worried about the pandemic like all of us. And they have been using Soul Natural products faithfully, regularly, and trusted that if they did what they needed to do to take care of their bodies, that somehow if they came in contact with this, they'd be okay. And surely they started coming down with some symptoms. She says that on a Tuesday, her husband started feeling like he may have had like a sinus headache. And then 36 hours later, he lost his sense of smell and taste. She said that she was feeling a little tired, had a little cough, but neither one of them ever exhibited signs of being sick. No one got a fever. They had a physical done those days. And during that time, they went in for a regular physical checkup. And when they went in to see their doctor, you know, they got tested because they had thought maybe, you know, that they were sick. And so they got their physicals back, their results, and the doctor said, everything is great, but guess what? You guys tested positive for COVID. And she was like, really? But they knew that they tested positive. They didn't do anything differently. They continued to use their Soul program. They happened to be on our 4-month to health program. And one thing that she said was, you know, I didn't have to fear. Our bodies are designed perfectly and they are smart. And when we give our bodies what they need, they know how to react. She said, I think that if it hadn't been that I had been on the program for such a while, that when my husband and I both came down with COVID, our symptoms didn't last very long. They were not bad symptoms, and we got over it quickly. They said that by the following week, this was on Tuesday, by Wednesday, everything was gone and they felt great. What I love the most about Noemi's testimony was where she said, I learned that if I give my body what it needs to maintain good health, I don't have to fear that my body will not react appropriately. I found that to be stunning and stirring. So many people think that you have to wait until you've lost a sense of wellness to take care of your body. And that's what I love about Soul Naturals. I love that our products have adaptogenic herbs in them. I love that they are multifaceted and multi-purpose products, that they can help us in many different situations. And so I loved that. And I hope that it helps really to when you think about, you know, when you think about a 4-month program and how it can help you. Here's a young woman and a young man. I would say Noemi is probably in her 30s. She got sick. She didn't freak out or panic, and she got better. And just sure enough, you know, it worked for her and worked for her husband. All of us are different. I'm not saying that what she experienced is what you will experience, but I can tell you my personal experience has been, I have done some traveling during COVID. I have been very careful. I've worn my mask, washed my hands, something that I have never stopped doing, and I've done for the last 8 years. And I did in earnest, even more seriously during COVID time, was to take care of myself. And we were in Florida last month, which is a hotbed right now in most of the country. And I am so happy that no one who attended convention has been sick. Have we been exposed? Probably. You know, we didn't have the hotel all for ourselves. There were other people there. Did any of us get sick or get hospitalized? No. And so I really firmly believe that when we take care of ourselves, our bodies will do what they were created to do perfectly. Another thing that we'll talk about today is our soul passion, kind of blends in with the philosophy of soul. I have shared with you aspects of my personal story. Most of you do not know how very depressed I was for a long, long time. And I don't speak about it publicly, not very often. And when I left my job of almost 24 years, I was on the verge of a nervous breakdown. Did I love my job? I adored my job. Did I love the people I worked with? Yes. Was I happy with a lot of things that were going on at the company at the end of my career? No. I had very serious suicidal tendencies. I had them in my youth, but they were revisited during those last 5 years of my employment. It was a very hard time for me. And when I left my employment, my friend, he is one of the founders at Solle, and he is a dear friend. He is the president of the company. I think he really understood my situation because his wife had gone through another similar situation to mine. So he could be empathetic, but we worked together, and I really went to him as a friend to seek employment as I retired from my old job. And he told me straight up, I'll never forget it, straight up, because he loves me like a brother. And he said, Deb, I can't afford you. I can't afford to pay you what you are worth in experience and what you did at the other company. But if you're willing to give this a try, I am going to help you be successful in this business. And the first thing I did was I asked about the product, and I started taking what was available back then. What was available back then was not everything that we have available now. I started taking the Adaptable, Soul Vital, Cinemate, the Vertizymes, the ProBio IQ, and the Soul Megas, and the Soulflex PI. I started using some of the oils. I really felt like my life had started to change. One thing that most people said to me as I left the company said, oh, I just feel so bad. You know, the rumors were running rampant. Someone said that Debbie had left the other company because she was dying of some disease. That was an indication to me of how bad I looked and how poorly I was walking and how sadly I was feeling. I really was on the verge of a nervous breakdown, you guys. I so wanted to die. And if it hadn't been because Soul came into my life when it did, I wouldn't be here today. So I tell you this because Soul can change lives, one person at a time. It changed my life. And as I have shared Soul with other people, I have seen changes in others, just like I was changed. Sometimes our families and friends are the hardest people to talk to about good health. And so that's, we'll have that little discussion at the end of this webinar. But I know that I have seen positive changes in my life, in the lives of my sisters who have several autoimmune diseases. And in the beginning, they were not interested in the herbs that I was wanting to share. But I say that with a smile on my face because you don't stop sharing when you know something is good. You just don't stop sharing. And so to tell us about why Solle is so different. Many companies are good companies. There are good products out there. I'm not trying to diss or, throw shade on anyone, but I will tell you for a fact, not all products are created equally. Not all products are formulated the way Solle Natural products are. For that, I would like to turn the time over to my dear friend, Greg Halliday, who is the president of Solle Naturals. He is the CEO and he is one of the founders. He is the reason I can stand here today. He told me once after we started on this project together, on this soul journey, he said, you know what? I think you look better now than you did when I met you 30 years ago. And at first I was just like, huh, what? And then I thought, you know what? He met me in my 30s and I will be 62 in a few months. And I'm very grateful because I look better, because I feel better and I do better and I can share more. And so I owe you that, Greg. Thanks for being with us this week. I would love for you to talk to us about Solle's Passion and why Solle is so different from other companies on the market.
Thanks, Deb, and that was great. Thank you for sharing all that. I feel like you actually just really in debt to so many good people who've helped shape all of us and opened our eyes. And honestly, when when we wrote what I'm about to share with you today, it was the year 2011. So hopefully you can see my screen, right? Our passion. And I love going back and reading it because I don't know, it's grounding to me. And also because when I look at what people like you and your team are doing, Deb, I feel like y'all's leadership, I got to use that term because it's more than one of you, is bringing to pass the vision and the mission that we had hoped for Solle. And just sitting and listening to you, that just brought home to me that same feeling. So I appreciate it, and I'm happy to share a little bit today about what our passion is, and why we founded the company. It's a long paragraph here. We probably should change the way we have this on the site, and break it up a little bit. So I'm using my highlighter to just highlight a few phrases from it. But yes, if you go on the website and you look under About Us, and you get to the section that says Our Passion, we do think some people would say we're crazy when we say we founded the company to change the world. That's why we founded it. Why? Because it changed us. These principles changed us. And I think Debbie has just shared how it's changed her. And that's all we want, is to change for the good. I was saying this yesterday as we shared this with another group of Debbie's team. You could kind of boil our passion down into two things. We want to open people's eyes, and I'll explain what I mean by that. Open their eyes about what they can do in their health. And then we want to connect them with you. If I were to write out what we try to do in the offices here, that's what we want to do. Help open people's eyes and connect them to Debbie and to you, Sybil, Juanita, Gwen, all of you who may be listening, because we believe that if we can open their eyes to what can be for them and then connect them to you, they'll have success because they'll have support from you and guidance. And that's really what our passion's about, if I had to boil it down to a nutshell. There are a couple of different aspects of our business. One is that people can own their own business. So notice I highlighted in blue, we intend to change the world of network marketing, making it more respected, more flexible, and more viable. Or in other words, I think more predictable for a person to be able to build something and see a result. And also over time, like with any business, you have to nurture it over time. But when that happens, it's there to stay. And of that, both Debbie and I, and I'm sure several of you, if it's been a number of years, you've been around this type of business, We can definitely witness to that because I've seen it so many times when quality people nurture a business over a period of time. What they're really doing is just supporting individuals. Ways to help them get educated, ways to keep them connected, ways to bring more information so that all of us can share in the information, not just a privileged few, but everybody gets the same information. I love the principle of anything that I receive, I want to pass on because we all the boats they raise together. So here's the next phrase that I love in the passion of soul. We intend to change the world's health. Yes, I know that's pretty audacious. By producing the world's finest plant-based supplements that are clinically proven to positively affect physical and mental health. That's another big statement. And you know something, though, really, it's not a deep, dark secret to bring that to pass. I will share a couple of the secrets today. Number one, when you're formulating products, buy the expensive raw materials. Just buy the expensive raw materials. Don't buy the cheap ones. That sounds a little oversimplistic, but honestly, when you boil it down, that is what it comes to. Secondly, feed the body and the mind with everything. That was the unique goal and mission of Solle. And that is something that we've continued to build upon and actually learn quite a bit additionally about that whole connection and interplay between physical conditions and emotional. One thing I'll never forget, I don't know if I've shared this one here, but Debbie knows Marcella. Some of you might know Marcella. She lives in the Salt Lake Valley, so kind of, maybe 30 minutes away from the Solle offices. She actually tells about a friend who told her about Solle. She had a fairly advanced cancer in her thyroid. So think about all the things when your thyroid's off, makes life really difficult, physically and emotionally. Just draining, right? Before she found out about that, she shared just last week how she would wake up in the middle of the night crying. And she was saying, I could not figure out, this would happen, I don't think it was every night, but it was frequent. She's like, I'm trying to figure out why I'm waking up in the middle of the night and I want to cry, or I started to cry. She's like, my husband and I are doing well. My husband loves me. We both have jobs. My kids are good. There wasn't anything in her life or her family that was troubling, that might cause you to do that. So why was she waking up crying? Well, that's back to what we have highlighted here on the screen. Sometimes there are other factors that lead to physical conditions that change our emotions. And it's not a defect in us. It's not a weakness in us. It's a physical change that's happened, and we're not yet aware of it. And then other times it's the inverse. It can be the emotional thing that later on manifests in the physical. But we know that there's a connection, right? And what we believe, to simplify it down, is that what Debbie just said: take care of ourselves, bring nutrition to feed those physical needs our body has, physical work of the day, and those emotional needs. They burn fuel too, sometimes a lot more than the physical needs. And if we feed them both all the time, that's part of our life, we take care of ourselves, we're in a much stronger position to get through the tough times that are just going to come in life, right? So that's how we want to change health, by feeding both of those and designing every product to address both those issues. Here's the next phrase in here. I'll see if I can highlight it, okay? We intend to change the way the world sees and treats the vital connection between the physical condition and mental outlook. Through the construction of a state-of-the-art Solle Center research and training facility, where researchers and distributors can unite to study, examine, and share the significance of mind-body health. So this is a dream we had from the moment we founded the company. To date, that building that we're referencing, now that's still in the dream and planning stage. But the activities that we mentioned in this phrase have been happening since Solle began. Right now, Dr. Allison Caldwell Andrews, you know her, she got her postdoctorate at Yale. She is a fantastic scientist and educator. She's at very rare blend, if you've heard her speak, of a scientist who also is an excellent teacher, and she's got a big heart. Well, she's doing research. We shared this at the convention. One of her main assistants, which by the way is a research assistant for Solle. His name is Orion. He shared the research they just completed at Southern Virginia University using the drink, one of the 4 signature drinks, Solle Renew, with college-age students and this pandemic, and I mean this with full respect, this pandemic of anxiety and depression that is even broader and more far-reaching, I think, than the pandemic that has everybody up in arms right now. So in this study, they were able to show that not only did these college-age kids feel a difference, lessen anxiety, lessen anxiousness within 30 to 45 minutes of drinking Renew, but that over time, regardless of the amount of Renew that they drank, some drank multiple times a day, some just once a day, they all felt over time those anxieties lessened and became less severe. This is one example. Now, this is a publishable study, and I do believe they intend to publish it. This is an example of what we're talking about here, and that's part of our passion. Why? Honestly, very simply, everyone, to open eyes. It's not, I know your eyes are already open about it, but we want to open enough eyes that every household has an opportunity, if they so choose, to bring this nutrition into their life. So that's a very, very important part of who we are and what our mission is. Let's look at the next phrase really quickly. We actually intend to change the financial condition of people. This one's a little harder to explain to people because I think so often when it's talked about, people get so much of a vibe of hype and salesmanship. That is not our vibe. At Solle, our vibe is to immerse ourselves in serving others, bringing education, as I said earlier, sharing all the information with everyone, and then lifting one another. And together, when that happens, and when you're able to own your own account and therefore develop your own business, your financial condition changes. It starts with just a monthly, what would you call it? A supplement, a supplemental amount that sometimes can make all the difference because now I don't have to make my car payment anymore. But it becomes very often something bigger than that. And that is a deep-seated passion of ours, to give that level of freedom to everyone, regardless of where they live and regardless of where they came from or what position of privilege they may or may not have been put in early in life. It is one of the central things that I love most deeply about direct selling and multi-level when it's done the right way. And Solle, we never, ever even considered any other method, because when it's done the right way, direct selling and network marketing provides the purest mentors, people who will truly be there and support you and stay there with you, much better than other models. The last part of this initial paragraph references our charitable foundation, the Heart and Soul. Its official name's actually been changed. It's the Cynthia Melanson Reed Heart and Soul Foundation. Cynthia was our very first distributor, and she had a passion, obviously, for helping those who were in a less advantageous position. And anything she could do to help someone else, she didn't even think twice. I'm going to refrain from telling you more details, because if I told you all the details, you'd be maybe a little surprised about the way Cynthia, how she was as a giver. It was very extraordinary, honestly, but she was private about it, and I'll leave it that way. But I will tell you this, she was quite extraordinary. We have chosen to focus recently, Debbie mentioned suicide. At the younger ages, it's even moving younger and younger in schools that this problem has grown. And one foundation that we have deep respect for is called Hope Squad. If you want to look into it, look more on the website, and there are videos to show what they've done. It is tremendous. Hundreds upon hundreds of schools now have these Hope Squads, which are trained. The adult leaders have to go through and complete a training, but they're only trained to be able to empower the student leaders who run it. That is the genius of it, because kids will talk to other kids much sooner than they'll talk to an adult. However, when other kids hear and are trained properly how to support, see the signs when kids feel abandoned or left alone, or any other of sort of negative influences on their life, they are trained how to look at the more serious of those, and they do report them and refer them to centers that are able to give counseling and help. And there's a time, what we found is there is a time for that when kids will be open to it and accept it. And in fact, that is what Hope Squad has shown. Hope Squad is really quite remarkable. We give significant donations. A portion of our corporate earnings go to Hope Squad, and we have many very giving leaders in the company who are donating to this great cause, which right now I will tell you is growing like wildfire. If you look at the last couple of years, it slowed a little during COVID because schools were taken out of session. But it's picked right back up as they're starting to get back in session, and there was still progress even during that time. So again, this is back to Solle's passion to change. Change what? The opportunity for happiness for individuals, no matter what your situation is in life. Finally, I won't keep highlighting sections of this statement on our webpage, but let me just end with, we make a few comments about the culture that we wanted to have as we began and founded the company, and the culture that we hoped for among our distributors. And can I just tell you that we have been so impressed, and I think above expectation, happy with what culture surrounds Solle because of the leaders of Solle, because of each of you and the other leaders. That's why we love so much. It was worth the sacrifice in a time which was questionable to have a convention. It was worth the sacrifice to bring the Solle family together. Because again, as I say, summarizing maybe my thoughts today on our passion, if we could open people's eyes and then connect them with you, we feel like then we will change the world. That's how we'll do it. And events and Zooms like this to me are a key part of us connecting one with another. So thanks for your time on that, Deb. Back to you.
Thanks so much, Greg. I really appreciate that. I know some of you are new to the team. Some of you are not as new. I hope that this has given you a better outlook of what Solle is and who Solle is, who's behind Solle. And so I have Greg, if you have 3 more minutes, I know Sybil has a question or a comment. I'm going to ask Sybil to open up her microphone, and then we'll take 1 more question or comment after Sybil's if there's time, and then we'll close our talk this week. Sybil, go ahead.
I just wanted to say that as an adult survivor of childhood abuse, depression has been something that I've dealt with my whole life, and imbalanced hormones and all kinds of weird stuff. And I was really happy when I got into natural health to get some of those things resolved. But after I got disabled and I had no money for healthy stuff, and but I lived actually on student loans. I went back to school with hope that I could do something. And while I was there, I participated in a suicide prevention group where we went to Tallahassee, the capital of Florida, and we were lobbying for them to train teachers because the statistics in children killing themselves, older people and veterans and the children, was rising the most. And the statistics were so high that they didn't even want people to know how high they were. And I called organizations, I called radio people, I called all kinds of things looking for somebody to work to help prevent suicide, and especially with children and people. And I was looking for something that would combine the nutritional. I was just blown away to learn how soul meets the desires of my heart, to want to learn to get better and help others. So
Thank you. That's awesome.
That means so much, Sybil. It means so much that you would share that. It really is near and dear to my heart because I've lived through it. I had those tendencies as a youth, and they haunted me later in life. And as things got harder and harder for me, it became more of a reality. You have no idea how close I came. Well, I actually did hurt myself 4 times and was angry every time I woke up and found that I was still on the earth. It really testifies to me that God's work wasn't done with me, obviously. And I'm just grateful. I'm just happy. And I see what a difference it has made for me. And Sybil, you and I have talked about similar experiences that we've had, things that are just very hard to overcome. And it just seems like the pandemic just magnifies these things. And so I felt it important that Greg spend a little time not to talk about particular products this week, since we have changed our format. It could be more of an open discussion and talk a little bit about the passion of soul, because I really firmly believe that if more people understood what we stand for as a company and as a community in soul, more people's eyes would really be open, and it would be easier for some people to open their eyes and open their hearts to trying something different. Which if there's another comment or question, now's the time to do it. Greg?
Deb, I just want to say with your comments there and Sybil, I believe that the toughest things that we go through, as long as we don't give up, which you haven't, they bring us so much personal power to help someone else. And I think that there are people that, for whatever reason, they just don't respond to other voices trying to do the same thing, but they will respond to yours. And I don't know why. I don't know why it's that way. But I just keep doing what you're doing, Sybil. You know as well. There are so many people. That little connection is it. It changes everything, and they get strength, and they won't return to that tough path. So I love that. I hope that we at Soul can always do our part with the nutritional part and tools and things to connect and things to educate and uplift them. But I know that the real key is you guys, and you bringing your heart to them. I love to hear you say that. I've already known that about Deb. Deb's always been this way, and I think I wouldn't be in any other business, to be honest with you. I wouldn't be in any other one, because to me, those individuals that get to tell you, oh, Sybil, guess what I'm feeling now? Guess what's changed? That's what keeps me running and motivated. And so anyways, thanks for sharing. You kind of touched me with that. I appreciate that.
Well, awesome.
It's the answer to prayer. I mean, to think about how I was longing for more tools. I'm in a lot of groups to help encourage people who are down or who are struggling. And I kept looking for tools and taking classes, and to find a company that takes away the shame of it and makes it okay to talk about it, and then has the physical tools to help us feel better. I've been doing everything I could for my health naturally just for the past 5 years. And I'm feeling better the last 4 months. I've been doing the, I forget which package, but I'm doing primary balance package number 3. I'm doing it for 4 months.
Good for you.
And I feel really good. So I'm very, and look.
Oh, you got your big size.
Hey.
My big bottles, and I got my new spray. I love them.
That's awesome.
I just wanted to say, Sybil, and I hope I'm not offending or crossing a line. I wanted to say, Sybil and I have known each other for quite some time. We recently reconnected. Sybil came as a guest to a meeting that I was at in Destin, to an event. Happened that she just signed up a day or two before that event happened, and she wanted to come and see me. And Sybil had like rosacea and a couple of other things that she was dealing with, physical, apart from the things that she's already mentioned today. And I have to say, Sybil, I will say to you what Greg said to me when he saw me after using Soul. You look amazing today. You look like a different woman today than the woman I saw 4 months ago in Destin. So thank you for trusting me. Thank you for trusting Soul. Thank you for letting me be a little influence in your life. I'm grateful that you are doing that for other people now. All right, everybody. Well, I don't see any other hands up. I thank you all for being here with us this week. Like I said, every week is going to be a little different from now on. We're not following a strict pattern. Next week, we'll be talking a little bit more about the business side of things. Today is the Spanish training for the Soul Pipe application that we have available. And so I will be working on a team project with Lydia in my downline. A lot of you know and love Lydia already. And we're going to try to come up with an easy way to show you how to Soul Pipe, okay, in English and in Spanish, and how it can benefit your business. So I love you guys. I thank you. Juanita, keep on doing what you're doing. There's my cute little soccer mom driving in her van, getting home with her kids from school. She's an amazing example to me of someone who shares soul. You guys will have to listen to Juanita's story, how she has shared soul with her family. We'll talk about that next week. Anyway, I love you guys. Have a great one. Be safe.